Hey YouTube, hope you're enjoying the run up to the apocalypse as much as I am. I'm having a blast. Today I've got a project. First of all, I'm using my old camera. I went back to my old Yi action camera. Y-I is how Yi is spelled. And I had problems with it turning on and off and going into burst photo mode and stuff like that. I'm kind of hoping that that was caused by my telephone instead of by the camera itself. So I'm running it off my tablet today. My super expensive $150 Amazon Fire, Kindle Fire. I was too cheap to buy an expensive tablet. Anyhow, it seems to be working pretty good so far. I wanted to use it because it will give me lower resolution than my fancy GoPro. And I don't want high resolution. You don't need high resolution for this. With my bandwidth capabilities, high resolution is a real pain because it takes a long time to do anything. So what am I doing today? Here's my pointer. And here's what I'm fixing. Can you see this here? This thing is called a middle buster. This thing is attached to my tractor. And I guess they call it that because you can go up the middle of a row and bust it with the hook that's on the bottom of it. I don't know. But it's a very useful thing for pulling up stumps. And that's what I use it for. And I bent it. You can see here this little ear, which is like half-inch steel. I guess it's 12 millimeter steel because it's probably Chinese. But anyway, this thing is bent. And if you look at this other one over here, you can see it's bent too and also a little bit twisted. This thing, either it's not very well made and it's a piece of junk, or it's not supposed to be used for this. And I don't know which. I mean, what do I know about middle busters? I don't regret bending it. I'm totally thrilled with the use that I've gotten out of it because I have a lot of stumps and a lot of junk to move. So if I have to break a $150 tool in order to save myself, you know, $5,000, well, hooray for me. Happy to do it. So I'm going to take this thing apart. There's one big heavy part that protrudes down from it that has the actual hook on it, and that's heavy, and I don't need to have that on it. I'm going to work on it. So I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to see if I can heat these with my propane torch and bend them. So wish me luck. This is not a propane torch, propane heater. This is an acetylene rosebud. I don't have one for propane yet. People on the internet who say they know what they're doing told me to give this one a try before buying the propane job. I don't really know if this is as well as it's supposed to work or not. I mean, it seems to work fine, but then I've never used the real thing. So I'm just going to heat this up and see if I can get it red, and then I'm going to try to bend it. And I believe I'm going to move the camera away because I don't think it's great for it to be this close to the heat. I can kiss the powder coating goodbye, but I'm going to replace it with truck bed coating, which I think is better. I can see why the Yi company got out of cameras. This thing is still not working right. Now they make dash cameras and home cameras, those creepy things that provide surveillance for hackers so they can watch you and your wife naked, I guess. But anyway, they quit making action cameras. I don't know, maybe someday I'll get it to work properly, maybe I won't. But for the third time, I'm going to go through this again because I have a feeling the other two times were deleted or were never filmed in the first place. I got this thing hot. And I thought I was going to have to twist it with a wrench or something. And I was worried because I thought I pulled the welding table over. But it turned out this was the tool to use, the nice blacksmith's hammer. So I got this red hot all the way through here and beat on it. And now it's pretty well straight, probably as straight as it was in the factory because, hello, China. They're great at sending us viruses and embedding malware in our cell phones. But when it comes to making things straight and square, not so good. And I guess that's a good thing for us because if they knew what they were doing, they'd be building aircraft carriers that were comparable to ours. So I'm going to flip this thing around, heat up the other side, and my hope, let me see, where did I put that thing? This is the pin that originally came out of this thing, and as you can see, it's not doing too hot. It goes like this, and what I did was I got myself a straight bar, like a 3-foot bar of steel that's going to go from one ear all the way to the other. And it may provide a little bit more resistance to bending, although I don't know since it seems like most of the bend is right here at this point. Not too sure what I'll do. It can't be any worse than these, I'll put it that way. So I'm thinking I'm going to run the bar all the way through and try to put some gussets in here, like at least one gusset, and that should be good enough. I mean, I've been using this thing for like 1.5 years or 2 years, and this is the worst thing that's happened to it. So it should be nice. You got to have tools. Get out there and get some tools. I don't care what your wife says. Don't listen to her. Does she listen to you when you tell her not to buy shoes? Get some tools. They're great. All right. This actually worked. A couple of good things happened. First of all, I found the voice control setting on this stupid camera, and I turned it off. It turns out that whenever you say the word burst, it starts taking pictures in burst mode, and it also does this when you don't say anything, which is convenient, I guess, if that's what you want it to do. So I turned that off, and maybe it'll stop switching and taking pictures in burst mode. So this thing is pretty well straight. I mean, I could, fiddle around with it and knock it over another 5 degrees or so, but I don't think there's really any point. The real problem is this bar that I bought. I bought this bar. My metal suppliers are very nice people. They work out of their house, and the prices are good, and they're just, fun to go buy metal from. I asked them for 7/8 inch bar, and they sold me 1 inch bar. So that's A36, 1 inch by like 36 inches, something like that. I forgot what I specified. So it won't go in these holes. I could turn it down, but then I'd have to turn it down almost the entire length to get it to go through both holes, if you think about it. So, not sure what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll just go buy another bar. I don't think I'll tell them they sold me the wrong size. They're such nice people. Who cares? It was probably like $7. If you're a person who's intimidated by the cost of metal, you may be hanging out at Home Depot too much. Find yourself a decent metal supplier, and once you find out that it's like maybe 25% of the cost that they charge at Home Depot, you'll be a lot more encouraged about getting some tools, being a man, having some testosterone, and welding some stuff and cutting it. This is the metal that I bought for gussets, and unfortunately I can stand it like this. I can stand it vertically in my dry saw, and that'd be the fastest way to cut it, so I can put it in here for gussets. But to cut it at a 45-degree angle, I'm going to have to do it sideways. I don't know if I want to do that or not, because it's hard on the saw blade. I may just use the plasma cutter. I've got this propane cutter set up. Maybe I should just be a man and use that. My new tips arrived. I guess I'm just looking for a reason to chicken out. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll try to do it with propane. Maybe I'll do one with propane and one with plasma. So anyhow, all set. Heating torches rock, rosebuds rock, real welding stuff rocks. I'm great, and if you feel like you're inferior to me, you probably are, so you better go out and get some tools. God bless America. Trump 2020.